Slack the line. Pull starboard. Pull together.
Beneath the frozen skin of the North Atlantic, where the wind screams like a wounded beast and steel ships shiver under the weight of the sky, something stirs. Not myth, not imagination, but flesh. Real, heavy, ancient. They call them shadows, with wings, giant stingrays the size of small boats, armed with barbed tails in the silence of centuries. No sonar can track them, no map can mark them. Only the sea knows where they dwell. And today, a fleet of men, weathered, quiet, and bound by salt, will chase them into the storm. This is not a fishing trip. It is a confrontation between man and a memory of the deep, between those who dare and the creatures that time forgot. In these waters, victory is rare. Survival is a privilege. And the only certainty is this: the sea never gives without taking something back. Beneath a slate-gray sky smeared with mist and oil smoke, the Nord Titan groans against her moorings. Steel hulls clink in protest as ropes are untied with practiced hands. Men in yellow slickers, faces carved by wind and salt, move with the silence of ritual. This isn't their first departure, but it might be the one they don't return from. The harbor behind them flickers like a distant memory, swallowed by fog and regret. Ahead, only the unknown waits. They sail not for cod or commerce, but for legends. Stingrays as wide as wingspans of fighter jets, rumored to glide beneath the ice-laced swells of the North Atlantic. No one knows how many are left. Some say they're ghosts, others say they're gods in scale and strength. The ships glide into open water like iron prayers cast into the void. The engines hum low,
Hold her steady.
the radios hiss
Secure
with
that forward
static,
bulkhead
and
now.
the cold bites deep, even beneath the layers. This is not a voyage of heroes. It is an oath to chase shadows across a graveyard of waves. Out here, nothing is guaranteed except the sea's appetite. They are not warriors. They are not explorers. They are fishermen, but their kind are cut from an older cloth. The men aboard the Nord Titan and her sister ships are sculpted by hardship. Calloused hands, broken knuckles, faded tattoos, and eyes that have stared too long into storms without blinking. Among them are veterans of failed seasons, widowers of the sea, sons who never returned home and kept sailing anyway. They speak little, letting the ocean fill the silence. Every knot tied, every winch turned, is muscle memory honed by necessity, not romance. Each carries his own ghosts. Some wear them in old necklaces of bone and rust. Others carry them in the way they walk, a limp from a slipped deck, a shoulder that never healed. Yet what binds them is not history, but hunger. Not for food, but for proof. Proof that the sea still holds monsters, that not all legends are gone. And so they ride out past where the coast disappears, where compasses lie, and only instinct remains. They know what it means to dare the deep and what it may cost. The first storm doesn't wait for an invitation. It arrives like an ambush wind screaming, waves clawing at the hull like angry gods. Rain lashes the deck in horizontal sheets, turning steel slick and every step a gamble. But the men don't flinch. They move as one, boots pounding, hands tightening lines, eyes locked on the sea. Then comes the order, harpoons ready. Lightning bursts overhead, momentarily freezing the chaos in stark white. The harpoon launcher shudders, metal arm raised like a weapon of war. A shadow flickers beneath the surface wide, slow, deliberate. Not a fish, something larger. The call echoes. Fire! The steel bolt vanishes into the deep with a thud and a hiss. Seconds stretch. Then the rope jerks taut, screaming on the winch. The fight has begun. Men lean their weight into the cables, knuckles white, sweat mixing with rain. Every pull is a prayer. Every shout is defiance hurled into the wind. In this war between flesh and ocean, the first strike is never clean, and the stingray doesn't rise, it resists. Down below, something pulls back. It breaks the surface like a nightmare surfacing from memory, vast, rippling, alive. The Stingray erupts in a spray of foam and fury,
Slack the line.
its wings thrashing against the
Full
pull of
starboard.
steel. Its tail lashes with brutal force, cracking the air like a whip, nearly catching a crewman off
Pull
balance.
together.
For a moment, it hovers midair, suspended between sea and storm, before crashing back down, drenching the deck in salt and dread. Shouts erupt, slack the line, pull starboard, a flurry of commands swallowed by the wind. The beast fights with the slow, terrible grace of something ancient, something that has never known defeat. Its body glistens under the floodlights, water sliding off like armor, its eyes, black marbles reflecting nothing but instinct. More men join the effort, heaving together in rhythm, boots skidding, arms shaking. Inch by inch, the monster is dragged from its world into theirs. It doesn't scream, but the violence in its motion is deafening. As it crashes once more against the hull, the Nord Titan groans back steel, answering flesh. This is no ordinary catch. This is a confrontation with a myth made real. The Stingray lies sprawled across the deck, a Titan grounded, its gills flare, tail twitching, wings trembling, as if trying to remember the rhythm of the sea. Around it, the men descend like surgeons and executioners both. Knives are drawn long, curved, honed for this singular task. The first incision is met with a hiss of steam as warm flesh meets cold air. Blood, thick and dark, spills across the steel, mixing with the rain and seawater until the deck becomes a canvas of conquest. They work in silence, save for the clatter of tools and the occasional grunt reverent. Almost as if they understand the price of victory. One man pauses, his blade hovering, eyes fixed on the Stingray's unblinking stare. There is no rage in it, no fear, just the eternal indifference of a creature that has seen storms before men ever walked upright. As the carcass is stripped and catalogued, the air thickens with the smell of salt, iron, and smoke. It is not celebration, it is survival. And the ocean, stretched endlessly around it, watches without judgment, unmoved by triumph or loss. Night falls, but rest never comes. The wind sharpens into a blade, slicing through oilskins and flesh alike. The Nord Titan pitches hard, groaning under the weight of its haul and the burden of fatigue. One cable snaps a shriek of steel in terror, and a man is nearly taken overboard, caught only by the grip of another who doesn't speak, just nods. Fingers bleed, shoulders seize. Boots slip on a deck slick with memory. The sea takes its toll not with one grand gesture, but with repetition. The endless pull, the heavy silence between orders, the ache that sets into bone and thought. Even the veterans grow quiet. They've seen men vanish between swells like they were never there. Below deck, sleep is haunted by the rhythm of waves and the drum of the hull. Above, the storm relents for a breath, but the damage lingers. A winch is out, a man's hand is broken, another refuses to speak. Still, no one turns back. The sea has already taken pieces of them. To return empty-handed now would mean it was all for nothing. Out here, pain is a language, and everyone is fluent. Morning creeps in, pale and metallic, revealing more than just swollen eyes and rusting bolts. The quartermaster checks the ledger. 42 Stingrays hauled, cleaned, and counted. But the manifest demands 50. Silence spreads like oil across water. No one speaks, but all eyes scan the deck, then the hold, then the horizon. Had one slipped free? Had the ocean taken back what it never meant to give? Some blame exhaustion. Others suspect the fog. One man insists he saw something large still circling the hull last night, gliding just beneath the surface like a shadow unchained. Another laughs it off, but too loudly. The captain frowns and marks the page again. Still 42. The shortfall isn't just about numbers. It's about control. Out here, precision is survival. And when the sea starts bending reality, doubt seeps in like cold through a cracked porthole. Was it a miscount? A misstep? Or is something else still out there, bigger, unseen, unfinished? The crew doesn't say it aloud, but they feel it in their teeth and in the way the cables tremble. The hunt is far from over. Something remains. The fog descends without warning, thick, weightless, blinding. It wraps around the Nord Titan like a shroud, muffling engines, swallowing voices. Radio calls dissolve into static, and even the echo of their own horns is devoured in the void. Visibility drops to meters. The sea, once a battlefield, becomes a maze of silence. Men squint into the white, searching for shapes that don't move, listening for sounds that never come. Compass needles jitter, GPS signals waver. The fleet drifts slowly, ghosts among ghosts. Somewhere out there, the rest of the boats still float, or so they hope. Tension rises with every hour lost to the haze. One crew member swears he saw a massive tail arc past the bow, but no one else did. Another points to shadows beneath the water, moving against the current, as if the ocean itself were restless. In the stillness, imagination becomes enemy and ally. For in fog, the mind fills what the eyes cannot. And beneath that veil, something stirs, watching, waiting. It begins with a flicker, a faint shimmer beneath the surface, like moonlight trapped underwater. Then another, and another. Suddenly, the sea comes alive. A colossal school of stingrays surges into view, their vast wings gliding in synchronized grace. Hundreds, maybe thousands, moving as one, like a living tide beneath the vessel. The men fall silent, all thoughts of tension and exhaustion momentarily swept away. Faces pressed to railings, cameras are forgotten, no one speaks. The creatures move with an elegance that defies their size, flowing like ink through water. Their bodies ripple in shades of silver and shadow, tails trailing like ribbons. Even the ocean seems to hold its breath. For a moment, the Nord Titan is not a harpooner, not a predator, but a spectator witness to something ancient and untamed. The men are children again, stunned, reverent. One whispers, "It's like a cathedral down there." And it is, a cathedral of silence, of scale, of secrets. They came to hunt monsters, but in this moment, what they see is not horror. It's beauty, vast, impossible, and humbling. As quickly as they came, the rays vanish, folding into the depths like smoke into wind. The silence they leave behind is shattered by the low growl of thunder. The horizon splits. The second storm arrives with no grace, only fury. Wind howls with the voice of something old and hungry. Waves rise like walls, and the Nord Titan lurches sideways, metal groaning under pressure. The men scramble to secure lines, to seal the hold, to brace. But nature has no patience for preparation. Amid the chaos, a hooked stingray fights back. It surges, slamming into the hull with a bone-cracking thud. Its tail whips upward, snapping a railing, sending one man crashing to the deck, breathless and stunned. Another leaps to drag him clear, soaked and shaking. Steel cables tighten to their limit, then twist like serpents. The floodlights stutter, flickering as if the sea itself were trying to kill the power. Shouts vanish into wind. Salt slashes their faces, and still they pull, still they hold. Because letting go means not just losing the catch, it means surrendering to the sea. And out here, surrender is the first step toward vanishing. By the time they bring the stingray in, the storm has peeled back to a bruised, trembling calm. But the damage is everywhere. Torn cables, dented steel, men hunched like broken tools. The creature lies massive on the deck, a breathing mountain of wet muscle. Its wings twitch, bloodied and scarred from the fight. There's no time for awe now, only work. Knives are drawn once more, their edges dulled by salt and time. Flesh parts beneath steel with reluctant resistance. Steam rises as warm innards meet the cold dawn air, turning the deck into a field of ghosts. The men move like machines, cut, lift, sort. No words, only the grind of bone, the slick pull of blade against tissue, the clang of hooks and buckets. The stingray's eye remains open, wide and black, reflecting the sky like a mirror. No one meets its gaze. Not today. Not after what it took to bring it down. The stench of salt, blood, and fuel hangs thick. Their gloves are soaked, their backs bent, but no one stops. They came for this. And yet, as the stingray's form disappears piece by piece, a quiet guilt creeps in. It wasn't just flesh they carved. It was a mystery. The sun rises sluggishly, veiled by clouds that refuse to break. Everything is gray, the sea, the sky, the eyes of the men who move without speaking. This is the final haul, the last monster. It comes without ceremony, hooked deep in the dark, and pulled slowly, painfully, toward the light. Muscles burn, ropes groan, even the winches seem to resist. The stingray emerges like a relic scarred, immense and utterly spent. It doesn't fight, it simply stares, motionless, as if it knows the outcome, as if it's seen this before. The men circle it, unsure whether to fear or respect what lies before them. One drops to his knees, not from reverence, but from pure exhaustion. They strap it down with the last of their working lines, hands trembling, boots slipping on decks, now stained by days of labor. As the final beast is secured, there are no cheers, only exhales, only silence. A few men nod to one another, acknowledgement forged through suffering. For one moment, they have taken something enormous from the deep. But they don't feel like conquerors, not here, not under the eye of the sea. The engines idle low, a soft mechanical sigh as the Nord Titan cuts through a sea now quiet, too quiet. The storm has passed, leaving only swollen waves and long shadows across the deck. The air feels hollow, the kind of stillness that follows a scream. Mist curls along the rails, thick and curling like smoke from an extinguished fire. No one speaks. The men move with the weight of everything they've seen and done. Their bodies ache. But it's the silence that presses hardest, deafening, heavy, unrelenting. The stingrays are stored, sorted, their forms wrapped and hidden from view. But their presence lingers in every rope burn, in every glance toward the ocean. The deck that once rang with commands and steel now creaks softly beneath their boots. It feels less like a vessel and more like a floating tomb. One man lights a cigarette with shaking hands. Another stares out at nothing, lips moving in silent calculation or prayer. They've pulled giants from the deep, and yet the sea, vast and indifferent, feels untouched and undefeated. The harbor lights flicker in the distance like weak stars, markers of land, of safety, of something resembling home. But the men don't cheer. Their eyes remain fixed on the black water peeling away behind the stern, as if trying to spot what stayed behind. They've returned heavier than they left, but not from the weight of their catch. Something intangible presses on their chests, something left beneath the surface. A memory, a whisper, a price. One man runs a hand along a deep scratch in the hull, not from storm or reef, but from the tail of something that didn't want to die. Another fingers a lucky charm tied around his wrist, worn smooth by salt. They count the bodies. No one is missing. And yet, they know not all of them made it back whole. The ocean doesn't always take with waves. Sometimes it takes quietly, piece by piece, courage, certainty, sleep. They came for stingrays, but what they found was a mirror. Out there, stripped of noise and pretense, they faced what men become when only survival remains. The sea didn't steal them, it revealed them. Far below, where the sun cannot reach and no engine dares to echo, the giants glide once more silent, immense, untouched by harpoon or hunger. The stingrays return to their world of pressure and cold, where legends live not in stories but in skin and motion. Above, the Nord Titan eases into port, its hull kissed by familiar waves. Its crew met not with applause, but with indifference, because no one on land truly understands what was faced out there. The ledger will show weights and numbers. The market will see meat, but the sea holds what truly matters. The silences, the shadows, the stare of a creature older than fear. The men disembark with slower steps, carrying salt in their bones and secrets in their silence. They won, but only in the way a flame wins over wood, temporary, consuming, and always leaving something behind. For every ray hauled aboard, another vanished into the deep. For every story told, another sinks too deep for words. The ocean, vast and patient, doesn't keep trophies. It keeps truths, and it never gives them back easily.